Dad, I agree to move to Haven State for the arranged marriage. Let's do it quickly before I change my mind. Her father, Joe Stone, replied instantly. Good girl, I'll have it sorted within a month at most. Tara Stone quietly wiped away her tears and put down her phone. An hour earlier, she had been kissed so passionately by Leo that soft moans escaped her lips. Inside the luxury car, the soundproof partition was raised, ensuring the driver couldn't hear what was happening in the backseat. Leo's lips pressed against Tara's, prying them open. Tara loved him deeply, recklessly, to the point of losing herself completely. They had been together for 3 years and had tried everything, everywhere. Doing it in the car had become routine. Leo's phone rang. The interruption darkened his expression, but when he glanced at the caller ID, he still answered. Tara caught a glimpse of the name on the screen. It was a foreign name in Genovian, a rare language that few people in the country understood. Leo muttered coldly, calling at a time like this? The person on the other end laughed. What's up? Busy with something important? Leo gripped Tara's slender waist, signaling her to stay still. His voice was calm and lazy. If you already know, get to the point. The caller chuckled. How much does she resemble Nina Lucas? Leo casually ran his fingers over Tara's delicate face. About 70% similar. The man laughed and swore. You've got skills. What's so good about her? Leo kissed Tara's neck, his tone indifferent. She's pure, like an obedient little poodle. Her eyes are clear but she is naive. The man's breathing grew heavier. Leo frowned, annoyed. Stop being a pervert. If you don't get to the point, I'm hanging up. The man hurriedly said, Nina's flight is tomorrow. She's coming back to restart her career. Leo froze, his breathing heavy. Really? Yeah, she wants to keep it low-key, but I thought I'd give you a heads up. Nice of me, right? Your first love, your one true love, is back. Think you'll finally ditch the stand-in? What if she won't leave you? Leo's voice turned cold. There's no problem money can't solve. With that, he tossed the phone aside and resumed where he had left off. Tara's head hung low near the seat, her eyes catching the phone on the floor mat. The call was still connected. Leo had no idea she understood Genovian. Her family had business ties in Genovia, and she had spent more than 5 years learning the language. She was fluent. Tears streamed down Tara's face, soaking into her hair. 3 years of heartfelt devotion, and to him, she was nothing more than a dog. The sunlight was beautiful, as if summer had arrived early. A luxurious 3-story European-style villa basked in the morning light. Leo descended the staircase slowly, fastening the diamond buttons on his tailored shirt with a casual elegance. He was the second son of the Carter Corporation, one of the world's top 100 companies. He managed several entertainment and media subsidiaries for the family business. His tall, lean figure exuded an effortless detachment, a hallmark of a successful man with a naturally cold and lazy demeanor. 3 years ago, Tara had been a college freshman. The first time she saw him, she was instantly captivated. He had noticed her too, his eyes lighting up as he began pursuing her. She resisted for 3 months before finally giving in. Since then, her world had revolved around him, her thoughts, her heart, her everything. But now... Tara turned her head indifferently. Leo didn't notice anything unusual. He cupped her face and gave her a firm kiss. I'm heading to the office for a meeting. Be good and wait at home. I'll bring back some desserts for you. With that, he turned and left. His tall figure seemed to carry a hint of urgency as he walked away. Tara let out a bitter smile and started sorting through her belongings. First, she gathered all the couple-themed items, matching mugs, toothbrush holders, keychains, scarves, t-shirts, plush toys, anything that symbolized their relationship. One by one, she tossed them into the trash. Though scattered throughout the villa, there was more than she had realized. Cleaning it all left her drenched in sweat. After dumping a box full of items, she returned to the living room just as the TV was broadcasting a news segment about international superstar Nina's return to the country. The airport lobby was packed with fans, their screams and shouts echoing nonstop. Nina, with her voluminous wavy hair, tall and striking figure, and flawless features, smiled and waved at the cameras, setting off another round of excited cheers. As the camera panned, Tara caught sight of a familiar figure in the corner of the airport lobby. Beep, beep, beep. The sound of notifications came from the computer. Leo never had the habit of logging out, and his messaging app was still open. Curious, Tara walked over and clicked on the screen. Nina, Leo, where are you? I didn't see you. Leo, I went back to the car. There were too many fans, and it's not convenient for me to show my face. Nina, all right, let's meet at the hotel then. Leo sent an okay emoji. Nina, it's been 5 years. I can't wait to see you again. Tara let out a mocking laugh and went back to sorting through her belongings. Leo returned home earlier than usual, the faint scent of alcohol lingering on him. His normally aloof and cold demeanor softened, with traces of a rare smile in his eyes. He held a large bouquet of red roses in his hands and greeted her in a deep, magnetic voice. I'm back. Tara was curled up on the couch, uploading pictures of expensive items to an online second-hand marketplace, planning to sell them and donate the money. Hearing his voice, she closed her laptop and looked over. Leo walked over, shoved the roses into her arms, and wrapped both her and the bouquet in his embrace. He kissed her lips lightly. What's wrong? Miss me? Tara pressed her lips together in silence, lowering her gaze to smell the roses. Like a magician, Leo pulled a long rectangular box from the wrapping paper around the flowers and opened it. He had these naturally expressive almond-shaped eyes and his glance were always tender and heartfelt. Right now, as he focused on her, his gaze was completely irresistible. Tara glanced inside the box and saw the diamond necklace she had admired days ago while shopping with him. It was worth over $3 million. She had only paused to look at it for a moment, but he had gone out and bought it today. Noticing her daze as she stared at the necklace, Leo leaned in to kiss her cheek. So happy you've gone speechless? Let me put it on you. Tara's slender, fair hands gently traced the necklace as she said calmly, roses and diamonds. I almost thought you were proposing. Leo's hands paused, and he gave her a sidelong glance. His tone cooled slightly. When I propose, it'll be with something even better. Tara gave a bitter, sarcastic smile. How much longer do I have to wait? The smile disappeared from Leo's face, replaced by a coldness in his deep eyes. Tara turned her gaze away and reached up to remove the necklace. Leo grabbed her hand, leaned in, and pressed his lips to hers, pinning her against the sofa. Her body went rigid, and she turned her head to avoid his kiss, placing her hand against his. I'm not in the mood. Leo's voice was commanding and icy. Don't play hard to get. Your period just ended. With that, he tightened his grip on her hand. Tara's heart skipped a beat. At that moment, Leo's phone started ringing. Tara quickly pushed him. Your phone is ringing. Answer it. Irritated, Leo reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. From her position beneath him, Tara could see the screen clearly. The caller ID read, Nina. Leo immediately flipped the phone face down on the sofa and cast her a casual glance. Seeing her expression unchanged, he stood up and said, I'll take this call. He adjusted his pants, grabbed the phone, and headed upstairs. A short while later, he came back down, now dressed in a tailored suit. A buddy of mine ran into some trouble. I'm going to help him out. You should go to bed. He left without noticing how much of the villa looked emptier, missing many small, familiar items. Leo hadn't been home in 3 days. He called, saying he was tied up with work. Tara felt calm, almost detached. But she couldn't resist checking Nina's social media. Nina updated it every day. Day 1, a photo of 2 hands holding wine glasses for a toast. The caption read, some connections, like fine wine, only grow better with time. The other hand belonged to a man. Tara recognized that slender, elegant hand and the custom-made couple's ring on his finger. She had the matching one. Taking off her ring, Tara laughed bitterly to herself. I wore this so long I forgot I still had it. Day 2, a photo of a beach sunset. The caption read, I'd love to grow old here. Tara recognized the two palm trees in the photo, leaning against each other. They had planted those trees together on the beach by his seaside villa. She had tied a simple ribbon around one of them, thinking it would make a sweet memory. Day 3, a photo of a bustling airport crowd. In the background, Leo's tall, unmistakable figure stood out. Nina's fans went wild, asking if she was in a relationship. She replied to them all with the same line, "No, just reminiscing in familiar places." Tara pressed down the ache in her chest. She continued carefully packing up items she had sold, shipping them to buyers, and donating the proceeds to a celebrity charity foundation. For the more valuable jewelry that wasn't selling online, she visited an auction house. She also stopped by her university to finalize her withdrawal from her graduate program and went to apply for her travel documents, including her visa and biometric verification. She started deactivating unused social media and shopping accounts, leaving only 2 active until her flight. She planned to shut those down before boarding. Today was her birthday. Just after midnight, a flood of messages and calls came pouring in, from family, friends, classmates, and professors. But not a single word from Leo. Tara glanced up at the photo on the wall. In it, she was nestled in Leo's arms, smiling blissfully like she had the whole world. But Leo's face was cold, his deep eyes devoid of any warmth. She let out a self-mocking laugh and dragged a chair over to take the picture down. Just then, the door opened. Leo walked in, his sharp, handsome face dark with anger, his entire presence radiating a cold, unapproachable energy. Leo saw Tara climbing up to reach something and quickly walked over, frowning. "What are you doing standing up there?" Tara gave a faint smile. "Why are you back?" Leo lifted her off the chair and kissed her lips. "Silly girl, did you forget what day it is?" A sudden ache gripped Tara's heart, and she couldn't stop her eyes from turning red. Leo cupped her face, kissing her eyelids gently. "Don't feel bad. I remembered, okay?" Tara lowered her long lashes and gave him a slight push, resisting his touch. He pulled her tightly into his arms and chuckled softly. "What's this?" "Thinking there's no gift. Come on, let's go see your present." He took her hand and led her to the front door. When he opened it, there in the yard was a red luxury car. The car, worth over $1 million, was perfect for someone her age. Placing the keys in her hand, he smiled indulgently. "Here's your birthday present. Do you like it?" Tara smiled faintly. "I like it." What she wanted to ask was, "Is this my severance package?" Leo leaned down and kissed her ear, his hands roaming lightly over her through the thin fabric of her clothes. His breathing grew heavier as he bent down to lift her, heading toward the house. Tara frowned, already thinking about how to refuse him. Before she could speak, his phone rang again. She couldn't help but feel a little bitter. She didn't even need to come up with an excuse. There was always a phone call to interrupt. Setting her down, he ruffled her hair and said, "Go change into something formal. I'll take you somewhere later." Tara seized the opportunity like a lifeline and hurried upstairs. As she reached her room, she heard him answering the call behind her. "Hey, Nina." In her room, Tara changed into a deep sapphire blue silk dress. The dress fell just below her knees. The front revealed only a hint of her collarbone, while the back was cut low, though her long, dark hair provided some cover. She applied light makeup, put on a pair of pearl earrings, and went downstairs. Leo was still on the phone. When he saw her coming down, his gaze froze. Sapphire blue was a notoriously unforgiving color, but Tara's fair, flawless skin made it look regal and elegant. The fitted silk dress was equally unforgiving, revealing even the smallest imperfections, yet Tara's figure was perfect, with no flaws at all. Her delicate features and refined demeanor shone effortlessly, drawing all attention without the need for extravagant jewelry. Leo hung up the phone, slipped it into his pocket, and reached out to wrap an arm around Tara's waist, planting a quick kiss on her lips, as if he couldn't get enough of her. "Why aren't you wearing the diamond necklace?" he asked. Tara gave a soft smile. "It's too expensive." Leo sighed, shaking his head. "It's meant to be worn. I'll get you an even better one tomorrow." Tara held up the car keys in her hand. "Let's go. I can't wait to take the new car for a spin." Leo chuckled, affectionately ruffling the back of her head. All right, let's go. Once inside, Leo took the passenger seat and set the GPS. Tara noticed the destination was a high-end private club on the outskirts of the city, members only, with an annual fee of $500,000. They had visited the same place last year for Leo's birthday. It was just the two of them then. They stayed for 2 days and didn't leave the room once. He had ended up with a nosebleed from the exertion, and she wound up in the hospital. Frowning, Tara guessed he was planning something similar for her birthday this year. But she couldn't muster any enthusiasm. Instead, she felt disgusted. The whole drive, she focused on thinking of a way to excuse herself. Before she knew it, they had arrived. The automatic gates opened, and the red luxury car glided in, stopping in front of a 2-story building with a classic, vintage design. Leo stepped out first, holding Tara's high heels in his hand as he walked around to her side. He placed the shoes on the ground by the driver's door. Tara took his arm for balance as she got out of the car, slipping on her heels. The moment she stood up straight, a loud bang, bang, rang out. Tara jumped in surprise. Suddenly, a shower of red rose petals rained down from the sky, floating gently around them like something out of a dream. Leo pulled her close, shielding her in his arms. The two of them, an undeniably striking couple, stood together as rose petals rained down around them. Laughter erupted around them. Happy birthday, Tara. Happy birthday. Tara, you're gorgeous. No wonder Mr. Carter keeps you hidden. You two are such a perfect match. Tara stood there, stunned, completely taken aback. It had been 3 years, and Leo had never once introduced Tara to his parents, relatives, or friends. He always said that because he worked with celebrities and was part of the entertainment industry, he couldn't make their relationship public. When she suggested introducing him to her family, he brushed it off, saying the timing wasn't right. So what was this now? Had the timing magically become right? Confused and disoriented, Tara allowed Leo to guide her into the banquet hall. Music played as dazzling lights flickered, and rose petals cascaded from the ceiling. Waitstaff in suits and bow ties wheeled out a towering birthday cake, over 6 feet tall. Time to cut the cake. Amid the noise and excitement, someone placed a cake knife in Tara's hand. Leo wrapped an arm around her, his hand guiding hers. Leaning close to her ear, he whispered, "Let's cut it together." They moved toward the cake, and just as the knife sliced through it. "Am I late?" A tall figure appeared in the doorway. Leo froze, his hand still holding Tara's. His expression shifted abruptly, his eyes darkening. Tara looked up and saw Nina walking in against the light, radiant and captivating, exuding an aura that drew every eye in the room. The room fell silent for a moment. Those who knew the backstory had their smiles stiffen, while the clueless ones hesitated briefly before the excitement exploded. Nina. Nina Lucas, the international superstar. People swarmed around Nina, snapping photos, asking for autographs, begging for selfies. Reporters and media personnel quickly whipped out their equipment, ready to interview her. In an instant, Nina became the center of attention. A reporter asked, "Nina, what brings you here? Do you know Mr. Carter personally?" Nina smiled graciously. "Mr. Carter and I have been friends for many years. I heard he was throwing a birthday party for his girlfriend, so I came to offer my congratulations." Another reporter chimed in, "We saw your recent social media posts. It seems like you've been spending time with a mysterious man since returning to the country. Are you in a relationship?" Nina glanced toward Leo, her smile unwavering. "No, he's just a very, very good friend." The reporter teased, "But even close friends can fall in love or get married. Would you consider that mysterious man as a partner?" Nina looked straight at Leo and said, slowly and deliberately, "No, I would not." Leo's arm tightened around Tara, his gaze icy and his expression dark as a storm. The sudden chill in the air froze everyone's smiles, and the lively atmosphere instantly turned awkward. Leo's voice was cold as ice. "Today is my girlfriend's birthday party, not a press conference for Miss Lucas, the superstar." The event organizer quickly stepped in, laughing nervously. Yes, back to the cake cutting. Let's get the music going." Everyone in the room, seasoned in the entertainment industry, was quick to adjust, and the festive atmosphere picked up again as if nothing had happened. Tara took the first slice of cake and handed it to Nina with a polite smile. "Welcome, Miss Lucas. Have some cake." Nina accepted the cake and studied Tara's face intently, her eyes narrowing with surprise. "Why do I feel like we look a little alike?" She turned to the people around her. "What do you all think?" Those in the know gave awkward smiles and tried to brush it off. Beautiful people often resemble each other. It's just a coincidence, ha. Those unaware of the underlying tension began to murmur among themselves. "She does look a little like her." At first glance, maybe, but not so much when you really look closely. They're completely different styles. One is like a peony, vibrant and stunning. The other is pure and elegant, like an orchid. Tara kept her composure, her smile calm. "Maybe it's destiny. Even when I was younger, people used to say I resembled the famous Nina." Her words carried an undertone that wasn't lost on those paying attention, exchanging subtle glances. It was true that Tara was young, just 21 and fresh out of college, with a natural beauty that exuded innocence and simplicity. Raised in a wealthy family, she had received the best education and upbringing. Her natural poise, confidence, and elegance made her stand out without effort. Nina, on the other hand, wasn't much older at 29. But years of cosmetic enhancements and surgeries, combined with navigating the cutthroat entertainment industry, had left her with a complexity that couldn't be hidden, no matter how hard she tried. Coming from a modest background, Nina had started at an arts academy as a teenager and thrown herself into the entertainment industry early. Her lack of academic grounding often gave her an air of shallowness. Grace, after all, comes from within, and side-by-side comparisons could be brutally unforgiving. Sensing the tension, someone chimed in cheerfully, "Everyone, grab some food. Red wine, white wine, help yourselves and enjoy." The crowd dispersed, people grabbing glasses and plates, forming small groups to chat and mingle. Leo kept his arm around Tara's waist and asked softly, "What do you want to eat? Or drink?" In truth, no one came to these events for the food or drinks. Tara, not knowing anyone here, felt out of place. "Let's go sit by the floor-to-ceiling windows." Leo fetched her favorite red wine and desserts, staying by her side. Yet his eyes kept drifting toward Nina, who was moving effortlessly through the crowd. Nina's smile was dazzling, and she navigated the room with ease. First, she chatted with reporters and bloggers. Then she had drinks with a few producers and screenwriters. Eventually, she started talking with two powerhouse directors in the film industry. She was clearly networking, laying the groundwork for her return to the domestic entertainment scene, and knew these top-tier directors were essential connections. As the alcohol flowed, the atmosphere grew looser. Men and women, hungry for fame and fortune, pressed their boundaries, offering drinks, testing limits, and making subtle advances. Leo's expression darkened, his mood growing icier by the minute. At first, he made an effort to talk to Tara occasionally, but soon, he wasn't even pretending to pay attention to her. Tara noticed one director's hand grazing Nina's lower back while another handed her a large glass of brandy. Leo couldn't hold back any longer. He shot to his feet, stormed over, and snatched the glass of brandy out of Nina's hand. His expression was icy as he snapped, "Did you forget what the doctor said? You're still drinking?" His voice was so sharp it silenced the room. Everyone turned to look. Nina, slightly tipsy, smiled even more alluringly. "Leo, you're still as cautious as ever. Don't worry, I know my limits." One of the directors, already drunk, chuckled. "Mr. Carter is still head over heels for you. I remember when you filmed a kissing scene, he stormed the set." Another tipsy guest laughed and added, "It's true. Leo is the ultimate romantic. Once he loves someone, it's till the end of time, passionate, unyielding, unchanging." Nina quickly tried to downplay it. "Don't misunderstand. My stomach's not in great shape, and he's just worried I might get another stomach bleed." Leo instinctively glanced at Tara, then around the room at the curious, gossiping eyes. Grabbing Nina's wrist, he muttered, "We'll talk outside," and pulled her away. Tara felt a twinge of bitterness and a complicated mix of emotions. Leo was 5 years older than her and always carried himself with maturity, composure, and a sense of dignity. No matter what happened, he handled things calmly. Yet here he was, losing his composure in public, a side of him she had never seen before. She could feel the weight of everyone's stares, their curiosity and judgment making her skin crawl. Quietly, she stood and stepped out onto the terrace. The night air was cool, and the terrace was dimly lit. Soft light spilled out from the banquet hall, casting faint shadows. She found a chair tucked into the corner and sat down. Looking up, she caught sight of Leo and Nina arguing heatedly by the flowerbed. The argument escalated until, in a fit of frustration, Leo turned on his heel to walk away. Nina reached out to grab his arm, but he pulled away sharply. Her balance faltered in her high heels, and she twisted her ankle, falling straight into the flowerbed. Hearing the commotion, Leo rushed over and pulled her out. It seemed like she was hurt, her ankle badly twisted. Without hesitation, Leo scooped Nina into his arms and hurried to the red luxury car. He gently placed her in the passenger seat and drove off, leaving behind a single silver high heel near the flowerbed. With the main players gone, the party quickly fizzled out. Guests trickled out one by one. Tara returned to the banquet hall, now scattered with leftovers and wilting decorations. The festive atmosphere had vanished, leaving behind an empty, dismal scene. The waitstaff, cleaning up the mess, cast her sympathetic, curious glances. Her white high heels crunched softly against the rose petals scattered on the floor as she walked out of the hall. The red car was gone, driven away by Leo. "Miss," a voice called from behind her. Tara froze, her heart skipping a beat. The voice sounded familiar. She turned and saw a man with sandy blonde hair and sharp features, clearly of mixed heritage. He looked to be in his 30s, with deep-set eyes and a prominent nose. His appearance was decent enough, but his gaze carried an unsettling mix of slyness and malice that made her uncomfortable. He extended his hand. "I'm Wesley Lima from Genovia." Tara didn't take his hand and turned away without a word. Awkwardly, Wesley withdrew his hand. "I'm a friend of Leo's. It's hard to find a cab out here. I can give you a ride home." Tara declined coolly. "No need. The club provides transportation." With an annual membership fee of $500,000, the club had dedicated chauffeur services. Tara walked toward a car parked nearby. Wesley watched her retreating figure, his gaze lingering on her flawless silhouette. He tilted his head, licked his lips, and flashed a wicked, determined grin. No wonder Leo stuck with her for 3 years. She's clearly exceptional, he thought to himself. Tara felt his stare like needles on her back. Sliding into the club's car, she glanced out the window and saw Wesley still standing there, leering at her with an unsettling expression. The memory of his phone conversation with Leo flashed through her mind, making her stomach churn with disgust. She gave the driver her address and urged him, "Let's go." Feeling bored during the ride, she glanced at her phone. The internet was buzzing, with 4 of the top trending topics centered around Leo, Nina, and herself. Leo spotted rushing Nina to the city hospital, visibly anxious, rumors swirl about severe injuries and possible disfigurement. Leo hosts a birthday party for his new girlfriend. Ex-girlfriend Nina crashes with her blessings, followed by a secret garden rendezvous. Leo's new girlfriend looks strikingly similar to Nina, real-life drama unfolds. 6 years later, are Leo and Nina rekindling their romance, or did it never really end? Photos, videos, and so-called evidence accompanied each headline. One photo, crystal clear and high definition, showed Tara handing Nina a slice of cake. The two of them stood side by side, drawing endless comparisons. Nina's fans flooded the comments. Some sent their blessings, hoping the two soulmates would end up together. Others directed venom at Tara, urging her to back off and stop being the third party. Many fans speculated that Nina's injury was caused by Tara's jealousy and revenge, leaving a barrage of hateful and vile comments under her name. Only a handful of sympathetic voices stood up for Tara, but they were drowned out in the chaos. Tara trembled with anger. "Who gave anyone permission to post my photos?" she fumed. The club was known for its discretion, and guest privacy was a top priority. Photos or videos couldn't possibly have been released without prior approval. That meant Leo, as the host, must have at least consented to it. Fuming, Tara immediately sent legal notices to the websites for infringing on her image rights. Within 2 minutes, the photos and videos involving her were taken down. But it was too late. Thousands of people had already downloaded and shared the content, and it continued to spread in private accounts and comment threads. By the time Tara returned to the villa, her anger had faded, leaving behind a cold calmness. Walking into the living room, she saw the framed photos of her and Leo displayed everywhere. To her, they felt like a cruel joke. Tara kicked off her heels, tossed her bag aside, and began taking down every framed photo in the villa. She removed the pictures, burned them one by one, and threw the empty frames away. She hadn't realized just how many there were. The living room, the hallway, the bedroom, the study, the gym, the walk-in closet, walls, shelves, tables, they were everywhere. As she worked, her phone rang. Seeing that it was her father, she answered, only to be met with his angry voice. "Tara, what's going on online? How could a scandal like this come out now?" Feeling drained, Tara sank onto the carpet and replied softly, "Dad." Her nose stung, and her throat tightened. Hearing her tone, Joe's voice immediately softened. "Don't cry, sweetheart. Don't cry. I'm here. We won't let them get away with this. Leave it to me. I'll make sure those websites pay for this." The warmth of Joe's concern broke down the last of her defenses. Tara covered her mouth, choking back sobs as the night's frustrations poured out. Joe sighed. "There's no use crying now. But I'll deal with Leo and that woman for you." Tara wiped away her tears. "No need, Dad. I was just too foolish and naive. This is my own fault. Besides, I've already decided to move abroad. Let's just leave it at that." Joe let out a frustrated sigh, torn between wanting to scold her and not wanting to hurt her. You're impossible." But his heart ached for her. After asking about the progress of her immigration paperwork, Tara ended the call. She took a long shower and went to bed. Leo didn't come home that night. There were no calls, no messages. When Tara woke the next morning, the sun was already high. The first thing she did was check her phone. All of her photos and videos had been completely wiped from the internet. As she sat down to breakfast, Leo returned. He was still wearing the same clothes from the day before. His hair was disheveled, his eyes bloodshot, and his stubble was unkempt. It was obvious he hadn't rested all night. Sitting across from her, Leo's voice was low and demanding. "Did you file a lawsuit over the online photos?" Tara dabbed her lips with a napkin and met his gaze. "Yes, I have to protect my rights." Leo spoke in a detached, businesslike tone. "The company has already signed Nina. She just returned to the country, and we need to generate publicity for her. I'll give you $50 million if you drop the lawsuit and allow the use of your photos and videos for promotion." Tara's lips curled into a mocking smile. "Mr. Carter, I'm not one of your employees. I have neither the obligation nor the desire to cooperate with your publicity stunts." Leo's sharp brows knitted together as he slammed his glass of milk back onto the table, his cold eyes locking onto her. "Jealous? Angry about last night?" he asked, his tone icy. "Nina hurt her face and foot, so I had to rush her to the hospital. Her looks are her livelihood. She can't afford to be scarred." Tara smiled faintly. "I'm not angry. Do whatever you want to promote her, just don't drag me into it. Understand?" Leo's gaze turned steely, his voice dropping further. "You've always been obedient and sensible. I hope you won't disappoint me." Tara's tone remained calm. "I'm sorry to disappoint you, Mr. Carter, but I'm standing by my boundaries." Leo stared at her, as if he couldn't quite process the change. He lit a cigarette, taking a deep drag and exhaling a swirl of smoke. Under the hazy cloud, his handsome, tired face carried an air of indulgent decadence. After a few puffs, he seemed to regain his composure. Snuffing out the cigarette in the ashtray, he walked over and sat beside Tara, pulling her into his arms. In a low voice, he said, "All right, we won't use your photos and videos. Don't be upset anymore. How about $20 million to drop the lawsuit? Going up against those reporters and influencers could hurt the company's reputation." As he spoke, he kissed her ear, his hand sliding to the collar of her shirt. Since it was Leo's company involved, Tara decided she would agree to drop the lawsuit. She figured she might as well treat it as compensation for the 3 years she had spent with him. After all, he had always been a satisfying lover. Just as she was about to nod, Leo's phone rang. With one arm still wrapped around her, he pulled out his phone and glanced at the screen before answering. He spoke in Genovian. "Wesley, what's up?" Wesley's voice was laced with mischief. "Did you get Tara to agree to drop the lawsuit? Those reporters and influencers are holding Nina accountable for the whole mess, and she's in tears from the pressure." Leo replied lazily, "Do you think she wouldn't agree?" Wesley chuckled darkly. "Man, I envy you. Honestly, I'm really into Tara. Since you've got Nina now, why don't you hand Tara over to me? Even just for fun." Leo's grip around Tara tightened, his voice cold. "Get lost." But Tara had heard everything clearly. She had assumed earlier that Leo's vague comments meant the issue was just a PR stunt orchestrated by his company. Now, she realized the truth. It was all Nina's doing. Leo hung up the phone, kissed Tara lightly on the cheek, and urged her, "Call your lawyer and drop the lawsuit." Tara's voice was cold. "I'm not dropping it." Leo's expression darkened instantly. He stood up and looked down at her, his tone sharp. "Can you stop being difficult? My company is taking a hit. What good does this do you?" Tara stood her ground. "Your team and those reporters and bloggers know the laws about privacy and image rights, don't they? Yet they still broke them. Why? I'm the one who was wronged, but instead of holding them accountable, you're here trying to cut a deal with me. Why?" Leo's icy gaze locked on her, his voice filled with disappointment. "You're not even recognizable to me anymore. Jealousy really does make people ugly." With that, he pushed his chair back with a loud screech, the sound echoing his anger, and stormed upstairs. Tara watched as the chair scraped against the floor. His frustration was evident. Whenever it came to Nina, Leo completely lost his composure. Lowering her gaze, Tara continued drinking her soup, calm and unhurried. Before long, Leo came back downstairs. He had just showered. His hair was still damp, and he was wearing fresh clothes. He paused at the doorway of the dining room and turned to look at her. "I'll still transfer the $20 million to you. I'm sorry for the inconvenience I've caused." His tone was polite and gentlemanly. But Tara, ever perceptive, caught the chill and detachment in his voice. She didn't care. Orders from the second-hand marketplace were piling up again. She busied herself packing the items and shipping them off. For 7 days straight, Leo didn't return home or send any messages. Then, in the early hours of the 8th day, her phone suddenly rang, waking her. Groggily, she reached for it. Seeing Leo's name on the screen, she frowned slightly before answering. His voice was slurred and indistinct. Clearly, he had been drinking heavily. "Tara. Come. Pick me up. Take me. Home." She could hear loud music blaring in the background. "Where are you?" she asked. "Major. Majestic nightclub, private room 88, he mumbled. Tara replied calmly, "All right." She quickly got out of bed, threw on a pair of jeans and a plain white t-shirt. After a moment of thought, she picked out a pair of black crystal earrings and put them on before heading out. She headed downstairs to the garage, where the red luxury car was parked right at the front. The car hadn't been officially registered in her name yet, so she hadn't sold it. Tara opened the driver's side door and climbed in. But she immediately noticed something. On the passenger seat lay a black stocking, and on the floor mat was a single silver high heel. She recognized the shoe. It was the match to the one Nina had left behind in the flower bed on her birthday. A wave of disgust washed over her. Getting out of the car, she searched through Leo's collection of luxury cars in the garage until she found her car. At around 2 a.m., she arrived at the underground parking lot of Majestic nightclub. Just as she parked and stepped out, a middle-aged man emerged from behind a dark pillar, blocking her path. "Hey, miss. Can I borrow some tissues? I'm in an emergency and didn't bring any." Tara tensed up, wary of the stranger's approach. She replied curtly, I don't have any. The man pressed on. I lost my phone. Can you lend me a few bucks? I need to buy tissues. Or get a ride. Her voice grew colder. No. With that, she turned and walked away. As soon as the elevator doors opened, she was hit with deafening music and flashing lights that made her head spin. The scene inside was chaotic. Men and women swayed together, drinking, singing, and exchanging suggestive glances. Tara didn't care for this kind of loud, messy atmosphere. After asking for directions at the front desk, she passed through a soundproof door and entered a quieter hallway. The corridor was lined with upscale private rooms, their thick doors sealing off the noise, leaving the space eerily silent. She found room 88 and pressed the doorbell. The thick soundproof door opened, and an explosion of pounding dance music blasted out. The light outside was bright, but the room inside was dim, making it hard to see clearly. Tara stepped inside cautiously. The door shut abruptly behind her, startling her. She spun around and met Wesley's leering eyes, filled with sleaze and malice. At the same time, Wesley raised his hand and sprayed something at her face twice. Tara instinctively tried to dodge, but it was too late. A faintly sweet scent filled the air, and she inhaled several breaths before realizing. Wesley blocked the door, leaving her no choice but to retreat further into the room. Her voice was sharp with alarm. What are you trying to do? Wesley smirked, his laugh sinister. What do you think? With that, he sprayed her again several more times. Tara's body started to feel hot, her heart racing. Her legs grew weak, and the flashing disco lights made her dizzy. She realized in horror that he had used a spiked spray. The nightclub's private rooms were designed to be soundproof and secure. There was only one door, no windows, and loud music drowned out any noise. Even if she screamed at the top of her lungs, no one would hear her. Wesley, having likely taken an antidote beforehand, lunged at her in a few strides and grabbed her, forcing a kiss on her. Sweetheart, I've finally got you. Tara's anger and fear surged as she struggled, shouting, Let me go. This is a crime. Wesley grabbed her arms and flung her onto the sofa with predatory force, pouncing on her like a wolf. Terrified, Tara kicked at him, but he anticipated her move, pinning her down as he pressed his body against hers. His hands gripped her tightly, his teeth clenched as he hissed, A crime? It's just the two of us here. No cameras. I'll say you got drunk and consented. If you regret it later and try to accuse me, who do you think the court will believe? It'll just get swept under the rug. Despair filled Tara as she struggled weakly. Leo won't let you get away with this. Wesley held her down, unbuttoning her jeans, his laughter arrogant and malicious. Stupid girl, Leo handed you over to me. Why do you think he called you here? He's busy having a good time with Nina next door. Tara felt as if lightning had struck her, leaving her stunned. Her heart shattered as tears of pain and anger streamed down her face. Wesley pulled down her zipper and started tugging her jeans off. Tonight, you'll see what I can do, better than Leo ever was. Nina's been overseas for 6 years, and she plays wild. Leo will get bored of her and come crawling back to you. By then, you'll have me and won't even want him anymore. Ha ha. Snapping out of her shock, Tara realized her jeans had been pulled down to her hips. Summoning her strength, she raised her hand and slapped Wesley across the face. Tara's slap landed with a sharp, crisp smack, echoing through the room. For a brief moment, Wesley's expression changed, but he quickly twisted it into a deranged smile. Feisty, huh? I like that. Tara raised her right hand to strike him again, but he caught her wrist. She lifted her left hand, but he grabbed that one too. Wesley's eyes glinted with menace. This little bit of fight in you? It just makes it more exciting. Once the stuff fully kicks in, you'll be begging me for more. With that, he leaned down like a rabid animal and tried to kiss her. Tara's entire body felt weak and hot, her stomach burning. She could barely struggle against him. In the room next door, Nina sat holding a glass of red wine, her eyes fixed on her phone screen. She turned to her assistant with a cold smile. If Tara hadn't been wearing pants today, Wesley would have already succeeded. But this is even better. It'll just bring out more of his animal instincts. The assistant, looking uneasy, asked, "What if Tara presses charges against Wesley?" Nina scoffed, her tone dismissive. "Let her sue Wesley. What does that have to do with me? I didn't do anything. All I did was suggest to Leo that he call Tara to pick him up." The assistant's eyes filled with admiration, nodding in agreement. Nina smirked, pleased with herself. With this footage in hand, Tara will have to drop her lawsuit. If she doesn't, I'll just leak the videos online and see who's willing to ruin her reputation over this. Excited, she clenched her fist and cheered softly at the screen. "Come on, Wesley. Get her pants off. Do it." On the sofa beside her, Leo stirred drunkenly, mumbling, "Water. Tara. Get me some water." Nina froze, her body stiffening as jealousy flickered in her eyes. She turned to look at Leo's handsome face, her expression momentarily sour. "I'm coming," she said, snapping off her phone screen and walking over to pour him water. Back in the other room, Tara felt hopeless, convinced she wouldn't make it out of this. But when Wesley let go of her hands to tug at her pants, she lashed out, clawing at his face and neck with all her strength. Her nails left deep, bleeding scratches. Wesley growled like an animal, his tone both furious and excited. "Little wildcat, you're making me even more interested. Don't worry. I'll record everything so you can watch yourself go crazy later." With that, he grabbed Tara and yanked her off the sofa. Her legs gave out beneath her, and she collapsed onto the carpet, powerless. She tried to push Wesley off, her hands trembling as she fought against him. Tears welled up in Tara's eyes, her cheeks flushed, and her body began to betray her control, a soft sound escaping from her throat. No. She refused to give in to despair. Desperately, she bit down on the tip of her tongue. The sharp pain jolted her mind back to clarity. Summoning her strength, she raised her knee and drove it straight into Wesley's nose. He was kneeling on the carpet, bent over as he tried to pull off her tight jeans, and hadn't expected her to fight back. Her knee hit his nose directly. "Ah!" he screamed, releasing her hands as he clutched his nose and fell back, sitting on the floor in pain. Tara scrambled to her feet, biting her tongue again to stay conscious. Her adrenaline surged, and she kicked him hard in the groin. "Arg!" Wesley let out a guttural scream, curling up on the floor, writhing in agony. Out of the corner of her eye, Tara spotted a small spray bottle poking out of his back pocket. Without hesitation, she grabbed it, held her breath, and sprayed it directly into his face multiple times. Taking advantage of the chaos, she crawled and staggered toward the door. The moment she opened it, a blast of cold air hit her face, clearing her thoughts slightly. She quickly used her t-shirt to wipe off any fingerprints from the bottle, tossed it back into the room, slammed the door shut, and began running down the hallway. But her legs felt weak, and she could barely move faster than a slow stumble, even as she clung to the wall for support. Her body burned as if it were on fire, her mind consumed with the single thought of finding a man. She knew if this continued, things would only get worse. She would either lose control and humiliate herself in public or collapse and be taken advantage of by someone else. Call the police? She thought to herself. This kind of high-end nightclub was backed by powerful forces. If word got out, they would deal with her before the authorities arrived. Call a friend? She muttered. There wasn't enough time. What should I do? What should I do? Panic consumed her thoughts. A sharp click echoed from behind her. Tara whipped her head around to see the door to the room next to number 88 opening. Her heart sank. If Leo found her like this, he would surely send her straight back to Wesley. Panic coursed through her veins. Her best bet was to find an empty private room, hide inside, douse herself with cold water, and ride this out. Desperately, she reached for the nearest door and pushed. To her relief, it opened. Tara didn't hesitate. She slipped into the room and quickly shut the door behind her. Just as the door clicked shut, she caught a glimpse of Nina walking toward room 88. Nina pushed the door open, only to be yanked inside with a sharp scream. Tara locked her door, bolting it and securing the chain. The room was dark and silent. It was clearly empty. Relief flooded her, but almost immediately, the fiery heat in her body surged, overwhelming her. She slid down against the wall, her strength giving out, and pulled off her t-shirt in an attempt to cool down. Her breathing was heavy, and her pounding heartbeat echoed in her ears. Her entire body felt as though it were being devoured by ants, the sensation unbearable. She couldn't stop the soft, stifled moans that escaped her lips. Suddenly, a sharp click pierced the air, and the lights flicked on. Tara's vision blurred, her consciousness slipping away. Through her hazy gaze, she saw a tall, striking man walking toward her. He appeared to be in his early 30s, with sharp brows, deep-set eyes, a high nose bridge, and sculpted features that hinted at a mixed heritage. To her, he was an oasis in the desert, a lifeline in her agony. Crawling toward him, she pleaded, "Help me. Please." Even in her disheveled state, with her damp hair clinging to her face and her eyes shimmering with unshed tears, her natural beauty and alluring figure were undeniable. The man's sapphire blue eyes darkened slightly. "Miss, should I call the police or an ambulance for you?" Tara shook her head weakly, desperate to communicate. "Water. Cold water." Grasping his leg for support, she pulled herself to her knees. The moment her body came into contact with his, her fragile hold on rationality snapped like a taut string breaking under pressure. One thought consumed her. "I need him. I need this man," she thought. Like a starving person grasping for bread, she flung her arms around him, her voice trembling with desperation. "Help me. I'll pay you." The man stiffened at her touch. He pulled her upright and said in a deep, steady voice, "I'll take you to the hospital." But Tara couldn't hear him anymore. Her ears buzzed, drowning out all sound. Her body felt drenched in heat, feverish, as if her blood were boiling. Each passing second pushed her closer to the edge, her heart pounding as if it might explode. She rose onto her toes, tilted her head back, and kissed him, her actions filled with desperation. Like a snake, she coiled herself around his tall, lean frame, her trembling hands sliding toward his waistband. His sapphire blue eyes darkened, deep and unreadable. "You're the one who begged for this," he murmured.